Hi everyone, Aaron here for Zollotech, and iOS 12.3.1 is out for everyone that has iOS 12.3 or any device that supports iOS 12. So the iPhone 5S or newer, and all of the same iPads and iPod Touches that are supported. Now this came in at 77.9 megabytes on my iPhone 10, and it will come in around 77 to 110 megabytes depending on the device you're on. Now if you are on iOS 12.4 beta software and you want to go back to 12.3.1, you'll actually need to plug it in using a lightning cable and then plug it into iTunes to downgrade using the file to do that, the IPSW file. Otherwise, you won't be able to downgrade. So you'll just have to wait for the next beta or the final version of 12.4 to come out. Now let's take a look at the build number. The build number is 16F203, and this particular build is out to address some issues. Anytime you have a 0.1 build, it's very minor issues. And the first thing it fixes is if you have a phone that you're using voice over LTE on, or VoLTE, depending on what you want to call it, it fixes that issue where it wouldn't work on some phones. So hopefully that's fixed. Also, it fixes an issue in messages that could cause messages from unknown senders to appear in your conversations list, even though they're filtered in unknown senders on your settings. So if you go into settings and then you scroll down to messages and you scroll down to the bottom, it says filter unknown senders. And if you have that turned on, they should not show up in your main text messaging window. They should go to the unknown part. If we go into messages, you'll see we have SMS and junk. They should show up only in junk, not in the main SMS area. And then when you go into one of the messages here, this also fixes an issue that could have prevented this little button here that says report junk from showing up. So now it will show up every time. And that is really all there is in this particular update. However, there are modem updates to the devices. So hopefully there's some fixes to the newer phones, the 8 Plus, the 10, the 10S, and the 10S Max, and the 10R. There are some modem updates for all of those different devices, so they did increment them one. Hopefully it fixes issues with that. Now the other thing also is there's no new security updates. So they did publish a link to the security updates and then said there's no security updates. So there isn't anything that they've published anyway. And then also battery on iOS 12.3 was actually okay. On most of my devices that were running this prior, I was getting about 5.5 to 6 hours of screen on time. For me, that's quite good. But if you're running iOS 12.3.1, it's going to take a few days to know what the battery life will actually be like, since it's only been out for about an hour or more by the time I'm recording this video. So you'll see I haven't actually used this device, and I may go back and use the 8 Plus to see what battery life is like. But if we take a look at my 10R, here is the battery life on iOS 12.3. So you'll see 4 hours and 32 minutes, 1 hour and 22 minutes of screen off time. And I had about 20 to 30% battery life left at the end of the day when I had these numbers. So I do have a lot of background information going on. So that's probably the cause of that. And I would expect 6 hours or so with normal use, maybe even 7, just depends. I've seen it as high as 9 for some. Now I did do a Geekbench on all of these just for a reference. So this is the iPhone 10. Let's take a look at it here, and you'll see I have 4,246 for single core, 10,669 for multi-core. Let's take a look at the other devices I have here as well. So my iPad Pro 12.9, you can see, has great scores on multi-core, 17,535, and then my iPhone 10 and 8 Plus. Now the older devices should be just as fast. This is just a maintenance update with a couple bug fixes, so I wouldn't expect anything to be slower on any of the devices. Rotate to landscape on the 8 Plus works fine. Things like 3D Touch still work fine, and the overall speed seems to be pretty good in general. That's all there really is with this particular update. So I'll link this wallpaper in the description as I always do. And if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe and like if you enjoyed the video. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.